Good day and greetings from the Great White North. My name is Prickly Poo and welcome to day 239 of a year of change and the beginning of week 35 for us as well. Feeling a little bit better today. Yesterday I felt like shit, so I do apologize for the video because it was really just kind of all the way around. But feeling a little bit better today. Sort of back on track to where I need to be. Yesterday was rough all the way around. I was sick when I got up and I had my little outburst where I thought I was going to binge, and I kind of did, but I binged on like celery and tomatoes, like grape tomatoes, so I'm okay. I still ended up going over, not because of the celery. I was over by like 30 calories from just eating regular stuff, but I had fruit throughout the day, so don't feel quite so bad about that. But yeah, so I'm sort of back on track. I do remember as well, and I said this yesterday, the second I was going to be done recording, I was going to remember something, and I did. I had completely forgotten that this week, or last week, I actually had tried, I bought cashew milk. I was going to try, if you remember a while ago, we did a whole bunch of stuff on soy, like tofu and edamame and the soy milk. And I've been buying the soy milk regularly, because I don't really just drink like a glass of milk. It's usually just for cereal. So I thought, oh, I'll try the cashew stuff. It's lower in calories. It's got a little bit of everything in there. It's not bad. It's not great. It's one of those, it's okay on cereal, but I wouldn't want to, like, you can tell it's from cashews, like, just from the taste. But it's a very, very mild taste, and I prefer the other stuff. So I'm going to finish this one off and then go back to the regular stuff, I think. But anyway, that's all it was. And I knew I was going to forget something, and I did. But this week, we've been focusing on carbs for a while. We're going to continue to do that throughout the next week. So we really need to sort of stay focused on that. But we aren't going to really make any changes. Just like last week, aside from really watching and trying to keep it at 50% roughly, and picking the healthier options whenever we can for carbs, I don't really want to make any food changes this week, but instead we're going to do something that we haven't done in a while. Before we get that far, though, don't forget, do our weigh-in. So weigh ourselves 3 times, say this every week, but weigh ourselves 3 times, take the highest number. I did that this morning, and if you remember last week and a few days before, I was just sort of on the cusp of that 260-pound mark. And I finally tipped over the edge this week, which was nice. Not that I gained, but I lost 1.8 pounds throughout the week. And so I'm under 260. So I officially now weigh less than Elvis did when he died. So it's a weird milestone to have, I know. And it's not really a significant one. But just over the past couple of weeks where that's sort of where my, I don't want to say focus, where my attention was. Slightly. It's kind of nice to go, okay, that was a very short-term goal. It's like, all right, in the next 2 weeks, I need to get below where Elvis was. And, I made it. So, kind of pleased about that. I still, it's weird because I'm 10 pounds away, well, less than 10 pounds now, away from my halfway mark. So, that'll be a significant milestone for me, is getting to that, 75 pounds lost and my halfway point to 150. It feels like such a long ways away, but I know I can lose 60, or 65 at this point. So I know I can lose another 10, and then I know I can lose 75. So just need to do what I did the first time. Need to do it again. So anyway, but we'll start out with our weigh-in and do all the fancy stuff and log our weight and everything else, and everything's good. So the change that we're going to be doing this week. This is something. I've sort of touched on it a while ago. In regards to tracking and things like that. If you remember a few weeks ago, I just stopped tracking. I started cutting back on the amount I was tracking when I was doing the treadmill. So that each week I was cutting back by about 100 calories. And this week I wasn't tracking it at all. I still post. I put it up on my MyFitnessPal so that there's a record that I have done it. So if you don't see it up there, that means that I haven't done it. But I just have it as, burned X calories on the treadmill, so it doesn't add to my daily count. I found that when I was adding to it, even when it was only a 100 or 200 calories, I was still going, well, I know it's only 200 in there, but if I go over, it's all right a little bit because I've had 400 or 500. But this way, it's not on there at all, and I find I'm not really sort of counting it that way. So the 1,800 calories a day, that's my goal. That's where I'm going. So, and it's, I mean, sort of back on track to where I should be anyway. But what I want us to do this week is, because we have been doing that, we've sort of been tweaking how much we're tracking. It was an optional thing, so it's not anything that was required to do, because it is. They do say that when you're exercising, whatever you're burning off, sorry, that you should eat some of it back. You shouldn't just flat out not do it. But I don't think they take into account the fact that, I mean, I'm still trying to lose weight, and I have an excess of fat to burn off. So it's not that I'm going to go underweight or that I'm going to get malnourished. I'm getting everything that I need, and I'm still staying healthy that way. So that's why I'm not tracking it anymore. But because we're sort of focused a little bit on food, or we have been for so long, we did our sodium and our sugar and our fat and now our carbs and everything else. I do want to take this and, over the next couple of weeks or a few weeks, as we're focusing on each of these things, do a little tweak to our exercise as well, because we haven't done that in a long time. I've been gradually sort of increasing my intervals when I'm running. So this week will be every 8 minutes. I do 1 minute of jogging. So that part is increasing, but I want it to be something a little more official, and say that for this week, whatever exercise that you've decided to do, whether it's jogging or swimming or basketball or whatever it is that you decide to do, even if it's just weightlifting, if you're still immobile and you're whatever you've been doing, whatever the exercise is that you've chosen, that this is your go-to exercise, and it's something that you actually enjoy, that it's become part of your routine, that's what we need to change. Not that we're saying, okay, well, this is now part of my routine, everything's comfortable, and now I'm going to stop doing it and do something I hate. No, we need to keep this on the same level that we always have been, that it needs to be something that you're going to stick with. It's going to be something that you're going to still enjoy. We just need to tweak it a little bit. I keep saying tweak all the time. I don't think of another word for it. Adjust. We'll make it a small adjustment. Now, for me, it's been, each week I up my interval by 1 minute. So I have another couple of months to go before, in theory anyway, before I'll be just doing an hour-long jog. I think probably by the time I get to, every 2 minutes or every 1 minute, or every 1 minute would just be an hour, you know what I mean, every other minute, then it's going to be more annoying to keep switching the speed on the treadmill. I've tried to figure out some way of actually programming it. Haven't really sort of delved into it. I've just went, I wonder if there's some way if I can program it. And then it's gone no further, so it's not exactly me saying, I've been looking into it. I've thought about it, and I need to look into if there's some way I can just do it automatically so that I don't have to keep hitting the buttons because it's an adjustment every time that I need to do it. And if I'm doing that every minute, it's just going to get annoying, and I'm just going to want to stay jogging. So that's what I think is probably going to end up happening. As far as maintaining that speed for a full hour, it's difficult to say, because in my head I'm thinking, there's no way I'm going to be able to do that. But if you had told me 6 months ago that you're going to be even using a treadmill every other day, I was like, no, there's no way I'm going to be doing that either. So I'm going to keep on trying to do that. But that's what my adjustment has been. Each week I've been changing the interval by 1 minute, and I had tried doing sort of weights at the same time, which, aside from not being very safe, didn't really seem to be helping all that much. So, and especially now that the interval's picking up, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. But I'm going to keep changing that each week, and that's been my change to it. I haven't changed, the speed that I go, other than, the jogging. But my regular pace is still 5 kilometers an hour. The incline is still at 0%. So the base of what I've been doing, my base exercise, hasn't changed. And that's what I want us to do this week, is that whatever exercise you decided to do, whether it's, treadmill or swimming or walking or biking or whatever it is that you found that over the past couple of months you've been sort of making part of your routine, there needs to be some little adjustment made. It doesn't need to be, but you know what I mean. We're going to make an adjustment to that. And whether it's, try to think of an example, because all I have to go on is mine. If you're biking, for example, you probably have a route that you normally use, or a route that you use. I can't talk. But whatever the path is that you normally go through, find an alternate route, whatever it is. So not that you still need to go through your regular stuff, but maybe there's a little detour that you can take. That's just going to change things up a bit, or you run it backwards, or some little change like that, so that it's still familiar. It's still the same thing that you're doing, but there's just a slight change to it. If you're swimming, if you do laps, or if you go back and forth, or whatever it is, I don't know what else you could do with swimming. Change the type of swimming. If you're doing like a butterfly, do a breaststroke. I can't talk at all today. Pah! We're gonna try this again. Try a breaststroke if you're doing butterfly, or a backstroke, or something like that. Like a little tiny change. It doesn't matter what it is. If you're bedridden and you've just been moving your arms or lifting weights or something, change the type of movement that you're doing. So that instead of just constantly doing curls, maybe you're doing lifting things. I'm not sure how to do that. That's it. Whatever the change is that you decide to do, it needs to be something that that it's just going to be something a little bit different to something that you're already doing, something that you enjoy, something that you've been it's become part of your routine each day or every other day or however often you do it. But just something to change things up. And the only reason to do this is it isn't that, this is going to, shock your system into burning more fat or burning more calories or, building more muscle or whatever it is. It's not really that. The main reason why we want to do this is because when we start making these little changes, and just like the food, opening up to different variety of things, with this little tiny change, although it is going to make a slight difference to, because we're so used to it's that muscle memory. You get so used to doing the same thing that there is going to be a slight difference. It's not going to be a whole lot, but it's enough to get us into that mindset. So that if we know that every couple of weeks we're going to be doing something a little bit different or adding to it, it doesn't have to be a complete change. You can do your regular thing and then add something additional to it. So that by the time we're done and we've taken a look at all the food and we're starting to focus more and more on the exercise portion of it, then we're going to be a little more open to saying, I'm going to try something new. I want to try this instead. I want to try that. So that if running is your thing, then maybe you're going to want to try weights. If you're doing swimming, maybe you want to try biking. Something that when the changes get bigger and bigger and bigger, then it's a little easier to do instead of just saying, no, I'm comfortable where I am. I want to stay doing what I'm doing, which is fine because everything, as long as it's still working, then we're good. But we need to broaden our horizons all the way around. And it's the same sort of thing when people say, well, when I would lose weight, this is what I want to do. It's because we can't right now, but because we're sort of stuck in that mode, being able to make those changes now, it's going to make things a little bit easier when we start opening things up and saying, okay, well, this would have been impossible for me to do, 3 months ago. So now I want to try something else that I knew I wasn't able to do and go from there. And again, not to just sort of say, oh, you need to challenge yourself. No, we're going to keep things realistic. This isn't, like a rah-rah motivation thing. But just making tiny changes, we've seen what it does with food. And even with our exercise, really, because when we first started, we weren't doing any exercises at all. We were just focusing on, just track your calories. That was it. That was our very first change. And it wasn't even, stay under your calories. It was just track everything. We know we were going over. We know that we were going to be, having 3,000 and 4,000 calories a day. That is a given. We aren't doing anything else, just tracking it to get into that pattern. Then we started sort of going under the calorie count. And then we started adding in, when we first started this, it was a matter of saying, well, while you're watching, you pick it one day, while you're watching a video, you just can't be sitting down. That's it. You can't be stagnant. You've got to be doing something. You've got to move in some way. And we've gone from there to 8 months later where you're probably doing a regular exercise at least 2 or 3 times a week. And it's become part of your routine. And you're burning off, a lot more calories than we were way back then. So although we've had our ups and downs and plateaus and everything else, in general, long term, we have seen everything go down. So that, I don't know why I'm really dry. Hello, cat. That's my cat. Anyway, he meowed last week, and I forgot to put up a little thing on the video like a little caption thing over here going meow, which I didn't realize until today when I went to review everything. So, oh well. Anyway, completely off topic. Sorry. So that is all that we're doing this week for our changes. No food changes. We're just going to keep watching our carbohydrates and make sure that it sort of stays around the 50%. I need to do a better job at looking at the fat that I've been eating because I need to bring that down to around 30%. And then the protein thing will work itself out in the long run. I do need to sort of... That's what the problem is with not like making a balanced meal each time, or else at least throughout the run of the day. That if you're focusing just on one thing, you tend to sort of, the other things sort of fall by the wayside, which is why we took that 2-week break, which we'll do again at the end of the 6-week period when we've done carbs and protein and fiber, all the good stuff. So, but for right now, we aren't going to make any changes to our food. Keep things going the way that they've been going for the past week, except for our little change in exercise. Because making those little tiny changes, we know works. So, but it's been a while since we've done an exercise one. So I thought it was time. Anyway, that is it for this video. I don't think I've missed anything else. No, I remember the cashew milk thing. I haven't tried the almond milk one yet. And I'm going to probably try that at some point. The only problem is you can only get it in giant containers. You can't get a little container to try. Which I'm not too pleased about. But, I mean, I primarily use it for cereal anyway. So, it doesn't really matter. I'm not sitting drinking entire glasses of it. So, but yeah. I think that's it. Anyway, so do our weigh-in, do our little tweak to our exercise, try to figure out what it is that you're going to be able to do that's going to add, a benefit to what you've been doing so far. Not necessarily just saying, well, then I'm going to run twice as fast. We don't want to double the intensity or even increase the intensity of what you're doing. You want to maintain what you've been doing, and if you're on a path to say I'm gradually increasing, then stick to that. It just needs to be, that was a plural thing. It just needs to be something that is going to change it a little bit so that we start in with that pattern of being able to open up to different things. So that when it comes to exercise, then over the next few weeks, as we make little tiny changes, then we're going to be able to say, okay, well, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that. And then you never know, you might find something that, eventually you'll say, well, I want to try a completely different exercise, which we might do a couple months down the road. We still have quite a while. We still have another 4 months to go before we're done this first year. And then after that, it's continuing on. So it's just, for right now, I think that's good. Little tiny change. Just been a little too long since we really focused on our exercise portion of it. Know that the food seems to be really the most important. A lot of what we do is, 60, 70% diet. And then the rest is the exercise. Just burn off the excess garbage that we don't need. But I think it's important as well, just to sort of start opening those up, because once we're done this 6-week period, our food stuff is pretty much done. We don't have many more things to do. And then it's just a matter of maintaining and then focusing on our exercise. So, and I have an itchy face. There we go. Anyway, I'm going to leave this video here, so thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please poke the like button for me, and if you... let's try that again. I completely screwed that up. Well, yeah, I probably should start everything over, but I'm not going to because I'm not going to. Too lazy. So, officially, thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked it, please poke the like button for me. In the meantime, keep yourself warm and fuzzy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.